Part 1 Through the Maw. The view from my captain's chair aboard the freighter Intrepid Dreamer * was a kaleidoscope of stars, framed by the edges of the asteroid field that we were skirting like a pair of dancers at a crowded party. Space had a funny way of making you feel both insignificant and egotistical at the same time, like staring into a mirror that reflected every single misstep and triumph while whispering, "Not bad, human." My crew and I had been hired to navigate this particular patch of the galaxy, known colloquially as the Maw, named either for its navigational dangers or because someone got overly poetic. Honestly, I've never stopped to ask. The Maw was notorious for its gravitational anomalies that could tear a ship apart faster than you could say, "Oops." "Are you sure this is a good idea, Captain?" It was Zeph, my navigator and chief worrier, whose eyebrows had not seen a resting state since I first took him on. The guy had the uncanny ability to make every asteroid look like it was out for personal revenge. I glanced over at him, feeling a smirk tug at my lips. "Zeph, if I started listening to my good ideas, we'd still be back on Earth, fixing hover cars for minimum wage." "Not sure if that's a compelling argument," Zeph muttered as he tapped at the nav console, eyeing the ever-dancing blobs of rock and ice outside. Our mission, to retrieve a lost artifact from an ancient alien civilization, wasn't supposed to be easy. The Golgothans, our clients, paid handsomely enough to make the trip worthwhile, their currency a mix of shimmering stones that pulsed with an inner light. They also had a reputation for brutally dismantling those who failed them, an incentive I found particularly motivating. The deeper we plunged into the Maw, the more peculiar the view became. Stars twisted and warped like they were caught in some cosmic blender, hues shifting subtly as though painting a masterpiece only they understood. I could almost hear the universe laughing at the absurdity of it all. "Captain," came a voice over the comm, this time from Malik, our engineer. "I'm picking up some unusual readings from the aft sensor array. Looks like, well, I've never seen anything like it." Malik was a pragmatist, a man whose idea of leisure was recalibrating warp coils. If he was puzzled, it meant we were about to get cozy with something interesting or deadly. "Define unusual," I said, trying to keep my tone nonchalant as I braced myself for any sudden shifts. The ship swayed slightly, as if being rocked to sleep by unseen hands. "Better if you see it yourself," he replied, his voice tinted with that peculiar mix of excitement and dread that had become all too familiar on these jobs. I heaved myself out of the chair, gesturing for Zeph to maintain our course. Making my way down to engineering, I half expected to find Malik buried under a pile of tools and wires, as was often the case. Instead, he stood staring at a screen with a confused frown. "It's like a pulsar, but it's moving fast. The readings suggest it's pulling everything in its vicinity. Never seen anything like it." "Sounds like an anomaly," I mused, scratching at my stubbly chin. "Possibly our ticket to fame and a generous bonus." Malik shot me a side-eye, the kind that said he was restraining an eye roll, or a one-way ticket to becoming space dust. Our banter was cut short by a sudden jolt that sent me and Malik stumbling. Klaxons blared, and the lights flickered ominously, never a good sign. "Bridge, report," I barked into the intercom, regaining my balance. Zeph's voice came through, slightly panicked. "We've been caught in its pull, the engines, they're not responding." The corridor transformed into a blur as I sprinted back to the bridge, heart thumping like a drum. My mind raced through possibilities, calculations, and half-formed prayers to every deity I'd heard of. We had to get creative. This was no mere gravitational hiccup. It was a full-blown cosmic devourer. The view on the main screen was a swirling vortex of light and matter, its beauty marred only by its intent to consume us whole. "Reverse thrust, full power," I ordered, knowing full well our engines were already near their limits. The ship groaned in protest, but to its credit it fought back. The Intrepid Dreamer shuddered, and for a heart-stopping moment I thought we might actually break free. But then the pull intensified, an invisible hand dragging us inexorably toward oblivion. "Captain, there's a ship on the scanners," Zeph shouted, eyes wide. "An alien vessel, it's emerging from the anomaly." This was the last thing we needed, a potential encounter with a species whose intentions could be as obscure as their technology was advanced. Yet part of me, an alarmingly large part, was exhilarated. We were on the edge of a discovery that could reshape our understanding of the cosmos, or at least make for one hell of a story. The alien craft was unlike anything in our databases, a sleek and organic structure that glowed with an ethereal light. It moved with a grace that made our struggles seem pathetic. Suddenly, the ship's engines ceased their protest. The pull from the anomaly vanished, as if the universe had simply decided to change its mind. The alien vessel, against all odds, had stabilized the anomaly. We floated in stunned silence, our collective breath held as the alien craft turned, facing us directly. A communication request blinked on our console, a simple pulse of light and sound that felt oddly polite. "Captain," Malik whispered, the awe evident in his voice, "I think they want to talk." I nodded, my heart hammering with equal parts fear and curiosity. "All right then, let's see what our new friends have to say." As I accepted the transmission, I couldn't help but wonder if they found us as alien as we found them. Part 2: Echoes of the Unknown Asterisk. The transmission from the alien vessel filled the bridge with a sound unlike anything I'd ever heard, a soft hum that resonated in my bones, like the cosmos itself was speaking. It was both soothing and unnerving, a bizarre lullaby from light years away. What passed for a voice in the transmission was a chorus of tones that seemed to hover at the edge of comprehension. Malik, ever the pragmatic engineer, was already analyzing the stream, eyes darting across data displays. "It's a language," he murmured, half to himself. "Or at least a form of it, layered frequencies. They're trying to communicate." "Trying being the operative word," I said dryly, even as my mind raced to absorb the impossible. This was first contact in the most literal sense, a dialogue with an intelligence beyond our reckoning. Zeph, to his credit, had stopped worrying long enough to look fascinated. "Can we respond? Do we even know what they're saying?" "Patience, Zeph," I replied, trying to project more confidence than I felt. "Every puzzle has a solution, and besides, we're not in any immediate danger, at least not yet." It was a precarious balance, this dance with the unknown. I'd spent my life flying into the heart of uncertainty, but this was a different breed of excitement, a raw, unfiltered confrontation with the cosmic what if. Malik, unfazed by my musings, had rigged a makeshift translator, a jury-rigged device that gleamed with the promise of understanding. "Let's give it a go, Captain. No time like the present to test the limits of human ingenuity." With a nod, I took a breath and activated the translator, a patchwork of beeps and blips echoing through the bridge. The alien ship responded almost immediately, the hum shifting into something that felt strangely conversational, like an interstellar chat over morning coffee. The translation came through in broken phrases, a jigsaw of meaning that formed a picture both exhilarating and terrifying. Alien greetings, origins unknown, seeking peace and knowledge. It appeared our visitors were explorers too, their voyage across the stars mirrored by our own. "I'm getting a location," Zeph announced, fingers flying across the navigation console. They want us to follow some kind of waypoint. I hesitated, the weight of the decision settling on my shoulders. Trust was a scarce commodity in space, a lesson hard learned through years of close calls and betrayals. Yet this was a moment that demanded it. If we didn't learn to trust, to reach out, what was the point of all this exploration? I nodded, making a silent decision that felt monumental. Set a course, Zeph. Let's see where they take us. The Intrepid Dreamer pivoted gently, engines purring as if sensing the importance of the moment. The alien craft led us through the remnants of the anomaly, its presence a beacon in the void. Our journey took us deeper into uncharted territory, past stars that glimmered with untold stories and worlds waiting to be born. It was a scenic route that offered no guarantees except the promise of revelation, a journey through the heart of the unknown. "Captain, I'm detecting a structure ahead," Malik said, his voice tinged with incredulity. "It's massive." The alien megastructure loomed into view, a titanic latticework of metal and organic material that seemed to pulse with life. It was an architectural marvel, a testament to civilizations whose histories spanned epochs. The sheer scale of it dwarfed our ship, making us feel like ants before a cathedral. Yet despite its grandeur, there was a desolation about the place, a sense of abandonment that prickled at the edges of my awareness. Whatever purpose it once served, those days were long gone. The alien vessel docked seamlessly with the structure, an act that seemed casual in its grace. We followed suit, our ship nestling alongside theirs like old friends reuniting. As the boarding ramp lowered, my heart raced with anticipation and dread in equal measure. I glanced at my crew, Zeph, curious yet cautious, and Malik, who wore his excitement like a second skin. Whatever happened next, we were in it together. The interior of the structure was a cavernous expanse, illuminated by a gentle luminescence that seemed alive. Shadows danced along its walls, whispering secrets of the ages. I found myself wondering what stories these corridors could tell, what wonders and horrors they had witnessed. Our host emerged, a creature unlike anything I'd imagined. Its form was a fluid amalgamation of light and matter, shifting and swirling with every movement. It regarded us with what I could only describe as curiosity, a sentient star exploring new constellations. "Welcome," the creature's voice echoed through the chamber, translated through Malik's device. "We are the Elori. You are the first to answer our call." I nodded, finding my voice. "And we are honored, but why us? Why now?" "Because," the Elori repel. Wide, its form shifting with a grace that belied its size. "The universe is changing, and with it, the echoes of the unknown grow louder. We must listen and learn together." As its words settled into us, a new understanding dawned, one that transcended language and culture. This was not just about survival or discovery, it was about connection, a shared journey into the depths of the cosmic mystery. And as we stood there at the cusp of this new reality, the stars whispered promises of adventures yet to come. Part 3: Fractures in Time. The journey from the docking bay into the heart of the Elori's domain unfurled like a tale spun from stardust. The corridors of the megastructure twisted and turned, alive with echoes of an ancient past yet hidden from time's relentless march. The luminescence that bathed the walls pulsed softly, as if the structure itself was breathing, inviting us deeper into its mysteries. Our Elori guide led us through the expanse, its form a constant ballet of light and shadow. My mind raced with questions, each more improbable than the last. What could this vast edifice have been? A city, a sanctuary, or something beyond human comprehension? The answers felt tantalizingly close, yet just out of reach. Zeph walked beside me, his usual apprehension replaced by wide-eyed wonder. "This place, it's like stepping into a dream," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Or a nightmare, depending on what's around the next corner," Malik quipped, ever the skeptic amidst the enchantment. A soft chuckle slipped from my lips. Let's hope for the former, though I wouldn't mind a couple of answers along the way. The Elori seemed to sense our curiosity, for it suddenly paused before an immense archway that shimmered with an unearthly glow. Beyond lay a chamber unlike any other, a grand atrium filled with rotating spheres of energy, each a miniature sun casting its own hues across the room. The air thrummed with their power, singing a song that only the stars understood. "This is where it begins," the Elori intoned, its voice resonating through the chamber like a harmonious choir. "The nexus of echoes, a place where time and space converge. We have watched you from afar. Your quest mirrors our own." Something about the nexus felt deeply familiar, a déjà vu that tugged at the edges of my consciousness. It was an intersection of fate and choice, a crossroads that held the promise of unraveling the universe's deepest secrets, or perhaps tangling them further. As we approached the swirling forms, Malik's eyes gleamed with the same energy that filled the room. This is incredible, Captain. These spheres, they're not just energy. They're memories, moments in time captured and preserved. We could learn everything." The enormity of the possibility struck me like a supernova. The idea of glimpsing the past, understanding the present, maybe even predicting the future, it was exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure. But there was a catch. There was always a catch. "We must be cautious," I said, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through my veins. "Time is a fragile construct. One wrong move and we could unravel more than we intend." The Elori seemed to nod, at least it felt like a nod, acknowledging the risk. "Indeed, but the strands of time are not immutable. They dance and weave, always in motion. And you humans have the power to become part of that dance." A chill of realization ran through me. Whatever the Elori sought, it wasn't something they could achieve alone. They needed us, our perspective, our willingness to leap blindly into the unknown. Zeph, ever the voice of my inner caution, spoke up. "Okay, say we buy into this cosmic dance-off. What's in it for us, Captain?" I paused, choosing my words carefully. "Knowledge, connection, perhaps answers to questions we haven't even thought to ask." "And the risk," Malik added, his gaze locked on the swirling spheres. I met his eyes, knowing the truth had to stand alongside the promise. Everything we know could change. We'll make choices that can't be undone. But that's what exploration is, isn't it? Leaping into the void, hoping for wings. The Elori extended a tendril of light, inviting us to step forward. "There is an event, a fracture in time that threatens all. You can help us mend it if you choose." It was a line drawn in the cosmic sand, a decision that demanded all of who we were. My heart thundered with the weight of it, the irrevocability of what lay ahead. Yet for all my doubts, there was no denying the pull of adventure, the siren call of discovery that had always driven me. "We'll do it," I said at last, feeling the words solidify into resolve. "Let's see what threads we can weave together." As we stepped towards the nexus, a thrumming filled the air, resonating deeper than any sound had a right to. The spheres flickered, their light intensifying as they reached out, enfolding us in their embrace, breathing life into visions of what was, what is, and what might yet be. I braced myself for the plunge, mind and soul open to the infinite possibilities. This was no mere journey. It was a reckoning with time itself, a journey into the heart of the cosmos where past and future danced in eternal harmony. As the light swallowed us whole, I could only wonder, What would be waiting on the other side? Part 4: The Threads of Destiny. From the moment we stepped into the Nexus, I felt as if I were both within my body and elsewhere, an experience akin to standing at the edge of a dream. The spheres of energy swirled around us, each capturing a fragment of existence, a moment suspended like dew on a spider's web in the dawn light. They beckoned, each a tiny world unto itself, inviting exploration. The Elori's presence shimmered beside us, a guardian and guide through this dimension of light and memory. Choose, it murmured, its voice an echo of galaxies. Align your spirits with the threads, trust in the binding. Easy for it to say, Zeph muttered, his voice barely a breath in the enormity of the space. Align my spirit with what exactly? It means listen to your gut, Zeph, Malik retorted, his attention already captivated by the swirling energies. I'll take the one that looks like it's spitting solar flares. I chose a sphere that resonated with a familiar yet elusive warmth. As my hand approached it, time seemed to ripple around me, a pebble dropped into eternity's pond. I felt myself drawn in, consciousness stretching out like a vast tapestry unfurling beneath an artist's hand. The transition was seamless and instantaneous. I found myself standing amidst a landscape that felt pulled from myth, a city of grand spires spiraling into a sky that shimmered with 1,000 hues. It was bustling with life, yet strange and fantastical, inhabitants of forms both exquisite and alien. The air was charged with the energy of creation and destruction, an eternal cycle of life and rebirth. I realized with a start that this was the past of the Elori, a living memory preserved within the Nexus. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of Zeph and Malik, each engrossed in their own exploration, threads winding them through scenes as disparate as they were compelling. A figure approached, an Elori yet different. Its form was more defined, its energies vibrant but contained. You see our beginning, it spoke, its voice an ancient melody. In understanding there is power, in power there is choice. So this is where it all started, I murmured, taking in the vibrant city around us. But what happened? Why a fracture in time? The Elori gestured and the scene before me changed, shifting to a colossal machine at the heart of the city, a construct of unimaginable scale and complexity. It pulsed with an energy that felt both life-giving and destructive. I understood at once, this was the source of the fracture. We sought to harness the cosmos, the Elori continued, its tone tinged with both pride and regret. A bridge to every moment, a connection across the stars, but we underestimated the tapestry of time. Our ambition fractured the weave. In that moment, understanding dawned with the clarity of a supernova. Their quest for connection had come at a great cost. They had torn the fabric of time itself, their city, perhaps their entire race caught in the ripple effect. This is what you need help to mend, I realized, glancing back at the Elori figure. You want us to help restore balance. Yes, it replied, its form flickering with hope and desperation intertwined. You are outsiders, unbound by the threads of our making. You can weave where we cannot. A responsibility both immense and humbling settled upon my shoulders. We were not just witnesses to the Elori's history, but participants in their redemption. And the weight of their legacy rested, inexplicably, within our hands. Zeph and Malik appeared at my side, their expressions mirrors of awe and determination. They, too, had gained insight through the Nexus, a newfound understanding of the stakes. Captain, Malik said, his voice steady with resolve, I think we've found our mission. I nodded, the path ahead clear despite its many unknowns. Then let's do what we do best, improvise. The Nexus responded to our decision, its energy flowing around us, shifting and bending the threads of time. As we worked, guided by intuition and the Elori's counsel, the fracture began to heal, the once ragged edges weaving together into a seamless whole. But just as resolution seemed within reach, a tremor coursed through the nexus, a discordant note in the symphony. The spheres flickered violently, the energies within threatening to unravel all we had accomplished. "What's happening?" Zeph shouted, a mix of alarm and determination in his eyes. "The fracture fights back," the Elori warned, its form strained by the effort of maintaining balance. "The past does not yield easily." I felt the truth of its words, the temporal tension straining against the bonds we'd woven. This was more than a mending, it was a reckoning, a confrontation with the consequences of actions long past. Desperation fueled us. We pushed onward, the tapestry of time a living thing in our grasp, demanding all we could give. It was a dance on the edge of oblivion, a testament to the power of unity and resolve. Finally, with a final surge of will, the last thread fell into place. The conflict ceased, the discord fading into harmony, a note of triumph ringing through the nexus. The fracture sealed, the universe breathed a collective sigh of relief. As the energy around us dissipated, I met the gaze of our Elori guide. Its form flickered with gratitude, its presence a gentle warmth. "You have given us a future," it said, its voice a tender melody. "For that, we are forever grateful." With the nexus behind us, we returned to the realm of the living, our journey forever intertwined with the Elori. In mending their past, we had forged an unbreakable bond, a connection that transcended species and time. As we made our way back to the Intrepid Dreamer I couldn't help but feel a profound shift within me. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, their light a promise of further adventures, new discoveries, and unending possibilities. For in the vastness of the cosmos, there were always more threads to weave, more stories to tell, and more destinies to shape. And together, as explorers of the unknown, we would answer their call. Part 5: The Silent Constellation. The return to the Intrepid Dreamer was a sober affair. The echoes of what we had accomplished in the Nexus lingered around us, a haunting memory of cosmic responsibility shouldered and shared. The Elori, with their enigmatic form and ancient wisdom, had entrusted us with their hope for a restored future. We were no longer mere travelers of space. We were custodians of a bond stronger than the sum of its parts. As we made our way back to the bridge, the air hummed with a newfound energy, an invisible current that tied us to the Elori and their fate. But the universe, as always, was not content to let us rest easy. As soon as we settled back into our routines, that familiar hum turned into an alarm. "Captain, we've got something on the scanners," Zeph said, his fingers dancing over the keys like they were an extension of his wary mind. "There's a ship on an intercept course, and it's not broadcasting any ID." I stiffened, the tension from the Nexus still thrumming in my veins. This was the last thing we needed, a complication veiled in shadow. I leaned over Zeph's console, scrutinizing the readings. The vessel was sleek and unfamiliar, like a predator stalking its prey through a nebulous haze. "Can you get a visual?" I asked, though I knew the answer was likely tucked behind a swarm of interference. Malik's voice crackled over the comms from engineering. "I've been running diagnostics, Captain. This isn't just any interference. It's deliberate, jamming our systems." "Great, just great." Out of the frying pan of temporal fractures and into the fire of interstellar intrigue. "Get us some distance," I ordered, my mind racing through evasive maneuvers, each one more daring than the last. "We need to figure out who they are and what they want before they decide we're worth the trouble." The Intrepid Dreamer responded with a familiar rumble, engines flaring to life as we veered away from the oncoming vessel. The starfield blurred outside the viewport, a dizzying whirl of light as we put distance between us and our uninvited guest. "Captain," Zeph said, his voice tight, "they're gaining on us and fast. Whoever they are, they've got tech that outpaces us by a mile." "Then we'll have to get clever," I replied, a plan unfurling in my mind like a star map. "Malik, can you give us any additional speed? Overcharge the cores, reroute power, whatever it takes." Malik's laugh came through the comms, a dry chuckle that carried 1,000 stories of impossible requests and improbable successes. "Consider it done, though you might want to buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride." The engines roared, a symphony of power that reverberated through the hull. I could feel it in my bones, the ship's reluctant agreement to our demand for speed. The Intrepid Dreamer leapt forward, cutting a new path through the star-speckled void. But the pursuing ship wasn't deterred. In a bold move, they launched a grappling beam, an antiquated tactic that surprised with its efficacy. I grimaced as the ship jolted, the beam locking onto us with magnetic tenacity. "So much for outrunning them," Zeph muttered, his fingers flying over the controls. "They're pulling us in, Captain." "Time for Plan B," I said, prying the situation for hidden angles. Surrender was not an option, neither was destruction. This was our ship, our crew, and I'd be damned if someone else dictated our destiny. The comm panel flashed to life, a garbled transmission slicing through the static. Words emerged, distorted but unmistakably hostile. "Prepare to be boarded." "Not today," I growled under my breath. I keyed the comms, projecting authority I half hoped would resonate. "This is Captain of the Intrepid Dreamer **. You are in violation of interstellar sovereignty. Identify yourselves." The line crackled, then cleared to reveal a voice as smooth as it was sinister. "Captain, we know what you carry. Stand down and none of your crew will be harmed." Their knowledge sent a chill down my spine. What did they know of the Elori or the Nexus? The implications spiraled, darker with each thought. "Let's give them a taste of our own hospitality," I said to Zeph and Malik, who had joined us on the bridge. Our eyes met, a silent pact formed in urgency. "Prepare for defensive maneuvers. We'll turn this boarding party into their worst nightmare." The Intrepid Dreamer * was no warbird, but it had surprises aplenty in its aging hull. We shifted power to shields, rerouted auxiliary systems, and prepared for close quarters, an unwelcome confrontation drawn from necessity. As the enemy ship latched onto our hull, their boarding craft extended like an iron claw. The corridor lights flickered ominously, a prelude to the coming storm. "Stand ready," I urged as the heavy thud of docking clamps secured the assailants to us. Whatever awaited, we would meet it head-on, eyes unblinking against the unknown that had hunted us from the stars. In the dim light of the ship's passageways, shadows played a game of cat and mouse. A game that we were about to turn upside down. For the Intrepid Dreamer * was not just a vessel, it was home. A home worth defending against all odds and at all costs. The air vibrated with anticipation, and as the boarding hatch hissed open, I drew a deep breath. Whatever came through that door, we would face it together. Just another day in the endless sea of stars, where every echo could be a foe or a friend. Part 6: Shadows and Allies. The air in the corridor was thick with anticipation as we braced for the breach. Every sound seemed amplified, the distant hum of the engines, the soft tap of Zeph's restless foot, Malik's steady breathing. The ship thrummed with readiness, echoing our own heightened senses. The boarding hatch shuddered. The seals released with a metallic clang, the door sliding open to reveal the intruders, figures clad in matte black suits with visors that reflected the dim corridor light. They moved with a predatory grace, the confidence of those accustomed to getting what they wanted by force. The lead figure stepped forward, visor retracting to reveal sharp, calculating eyes. "Captain," he greeted, his voice a controlled calm that belied the threat in his words. "You've been far more troublesome than anticipated." "Glad to hear we've exceeded expectations," I replied, my tone casual even as my mind raced, assessing him for weaknesses. "But I can't help but wonder what's so important that you'd risk a boarded freighter in the middle of nowhere." He let out a humorless chuckle, a sound that mirrored the void of space. "Let's just say, what you carry from the Elori is of interest to us." His knowledge of the Elori sent a frisson of alarm through me. If they were aware of the Nexus and the bond we'd formed, their intentions could be far more insidious than mere piracy. "Why don't we skip the pleasantries?" I suggested, gesturing subtly for my crew to get ready. "And you tell us who you're working for." The man's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Names are irrelevant, only the objective matters, but enough talk." At his signal, the intruders moved forward, a wave of dark intent ready to sweep us aside. But we had no intention of making it easy for them. "Now," I shouted, springing into action. Malik, with reflexes honed from a lifetime of engineering improvisations, activated the emergency bulkheads. Doors slammed down between us and several of the boarders, dividing their forces. Zeph ducked behind a console, fingers dancing over the controls to overload the corridor's lighting systems. A strobe effect burst into life, painting the scene in dizzying flashes that disoriented their advance. I took the opportunity to dive forward, tackling the leader and sending us both crashing to the ground. A scramble of fists and elbows ensued, each of us seeking leverage in the chaos. The ship rocked with our struggle, a vessel caught between the tides of conflict. The Intrepid Dreamer asterisk was no stranger to scuffles, and it seemed to channel our resolve, its systems humming with a defiant energy. Then, as I wrestled for control, Malik's voice cut through the noise, urgent and tight. "Captain, we've got a system breach. They've tapped into our mainframe." The leader smirked beneath me, even as I pinned him. "It's not the ship we want, Captain, it's what you hold dear." A chill ran through me. Of course, the Elori's secrets, the link to the Nexus. They were here for knowledge as much as for power. "Hang on," Zeph called, firing up a manual override. His fingers were a blur, lines of code rushing past like a storm. He was fighting fire with fire, his skills a bulwark against their encroaching grasp on our systems. Desperation lent me strength. With a grunt, I pushed to my feet, dragging the leader with me. "You picked the wrong ship," I growled, determination igniting within. "My crew doesn't surrender, not to anyone." His eyes met mine, a flicker of something almost like admiration before his expression hardened. "Neither do we." But before either of us could act further, another presence made itself known, a ripple in the air, a shimmer of light that distinguished itself from the chaos. The Elori. Their form materialized between us, a luminous beacon that seemed to calm the turbulence around us. The intruders hesitated, their confidence shaken by the unexpected intervention. "Humans," the Elori said, its voice a gentle command. "This conflict serves no future." In the stillness that followed, the leader's resolve faltered. The presence of the Elori was not something they had anticipated. It was an element beyond their control or understanding. Sensing an opportunity, I spoke into the silence. "Withdraw. Whatever you're after, it's tied to the Elori now. And unless you want to face them in their full power, I suggest you rethink your course." The leader's gaze lingered on the Aloy, recognition dawning of a battle not worth the cost. With a terse nod, he signaled retreat, the black-clad figures withdrawing into the shadows from which they'd emerged. As the boarding craft disengaged, I released a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. The tension of impending confrontation ebbed, leaving in its wake a wary camaraderie among us all. The Aloy's presence faded, its light a comfort in the aftermath. Balance must be maintained, it reminded us, the truth of its words resonating through every fiber of our being. We were safe for now, but the encounter had left more questions than answers. Who were these people? What did they know that we did? And how far would they go to claim the secrets the Aloy now shared with us? As the Intrepid Dreamer drifted back into the relative silence of space, I felt the universe's gaze upon us, a reminder that our journey was only just beginning. In the vast tapestry of the cosmos, we were but one thread among many, woven into an ever-expanding narrative. And though the stars beckoned with their own mysteries, we had our path to follow, a path defined by the choices we made, the alliances we forged, and the echoes of destiny we shaped with each new dawn. Part 7: The Keepers of the Abyss. With the immediate threat averted, the bridge of the Intrepid Dreamer fell into a rare silence, save for the soft purr of the engines as we coasted through the vast, star-speckled expanse. Our relief was tempered by the knowledge that we had only glimpsed the tip of a deeper mystery, one that extended beyond the Aloy and their enigmatic charge. Zeph leaned back in his chair, the tension in his shoulders gradually easing. "I don't know about you, Captain, but I'd say that was one hell of a first contact. Nothing like a bit of existential interstellar drama to get the blood pumping." I chuckled, feeling the shift in the crew's mood, a camaraderie fortified by shared trial. "You did good, Zeph. Both of you," I added, nodding towards Malik, whose fingers still danced over his console, ensuring our systems were secure from any lingering threats. "What's next, Captain?" Malik asked, his eyes meeting mine. There was a determination in his gaze, a silent agreement that though we had survived this ordeal, the path ahead was riddled with unknowns. Before I could respond, the Aloy's presence re-emerged, an ephemeral glow that bathed the bridge in a gentle luminescence. Its form was less distinct, a fluid amalgamation of the light it emitted, a reminder of its ethereal nature. "Captain," it murmured, voice a harmonious blend of tones, "you have proven yourselves allies in a time of need, but the echoes of past and future converge once more, and we must seek the Keepers of the Abyss." "The Keepers of the Abyss," Zeph repeated, eyebrows rising in curiosity. "I'm guessing they're not just another band of pirates with a cooler name." The Aloy shimmered with an emotion I could only describe as amusement. "No, Zeph, the Keepers are entities ancient even to us. They dwell at the edge of known space, custodians of the cosmic abyss where time and reality blur." A thrill of anticipation rippled through me. The concept of the abyss had been whispered in hushed tones among spacefarers, a region where the laws of physics grew pliable and the impossible became mundane. If the Aloy deemed it necessary to seek out the Keepers, the stakes of our mission were higher than ever before. "How do we find them?" Malik inquired, ever pragmatic in the face of abstract challenge. The Aloy projected an image, a star map with coordinates that flickered into life on our displays, illuminating a region on the fringes of galactic charts. "They have agreed to meet you here at the Eye of the Abyss. It is a journey fraught with peril but necessary for our survival." I studied the map, committing it to memory. The Eye of the Abyss lay beyond the reach of most civilizations, a place less traveled and more whispered about in tales of explorers who dared its mysteries. Then we'll go, I declared, feeling the weight of the decision settle with an almost comforting familiarity. We've come this far, no sense in stopping now. The Elori's light flickered warmly, a gesture of gratitude. We will aid you however we can. The journey is yours, but you do not walk it alone. As the Elori's presence faded once more, I adjusted our course, the ship aligning with the coordinates that would lead us into the heart of the abyss. The engines surged, carrying us forward into the unknown, where the fabric of reality itself could unravel at our feet. The journey to the eye was marked by phenomena that challenged our understanding, gravity bending light into rainbows that danced along the edges of our vision, stars that whispered forgotten truths in the silence of space. Each new marvel was a reminder of the vast complexity of the universe and our small place within it. Approaching the coordinates, Zeph reported, the ship slowing as we neared what appeared to be an empty region of space, a void marked by a singularity that consumed all light. From within that darkness emerged the Keeper's domain, a structure unlike any we had encountered. It was a massive ring, an orbiting monument of obsidian and starlight, hovering on the edge of non-existence. It seemed more presence than construction, a celestial threshold between worlds. A sensation washed over us as we drew near, a profound calm that resonated deep in our souls, a whisper of understanding from something beyond comprehension. This was the Keeper's welcoming, an acknowledgement of our arrival. The ship docked seamlessly into the structure, our surroundings transforming into a vast chamber filled with phantasmal forms that shimmered like the surface of a still pond. The Keepers themselves were indistinguishable from their domain, entities woven from the very essence of the abyss. One form stepped forward, a Keeper whose presence felt like the inevitability of gravity drawing us into its orbit. Welcome, travelers of the Nexus. You seek the hidden truths of the universe. We seek to understand and to aid our allies, I replied, feeling the gravity of the moment. Truths are rarely simple yet necessary, the Keeper intoned, its voice an echo of eternity. We shall guide you, but the path is yours to walk. The abyss holds many secrets, some enlightening, others perilous. With those words the chamber transformed, the walls dissolving into a panorama of the cosmos. We stood upon the brink of the abyss, where time and space danced in unfathomable harmony. Here, boundless opportunities awaited, each step a chance to redefine reality. In that moment, I understood the Keeper's wisdom. Our journey was not just about mending fractured timelines or battling cosmic foes. It was about embracing the unknown, trusting in the bonds we had forged, and finding our place in the vast, wondrous tapestry of existence. As we prepared to step forward into the abyss, I felt an exhilaration unlike any other. This was the true frontier, where destiny beckoned and the echoes of the future awaited. Together, united in purpose, we would face whatever came our way, explorers at the edge of tomorrow. Part 8, Veils of the Unknown Asterisk. We stood at the threshold of the abyss, where the very fabric of reality seemed to shimmer and pulse with a rhythm all its own. The Keeper's domain had revealed itself as a gateway, a liminal space between the known universe and the mysteries that lay beyond. It was an invitation to explore, to question, and to redefine understanding. The Keeper who had greeted us observed with a patience that felt eternal, its form an ever-shifting silhouette of starlight and shadow. The abyss is a realm of veils, it intoned, its voice a melodic echo in the chamber. You must choose which veil to part, for each reveals a different truth. I glanced at my crew, Zeph, ever the skeptic with a heart of gold, and Malik, whose curiosity burned brighter than any star. They nodded, a shared resolve reflected in their eyes. "We're ready," I said, the words a commitment rather than a declaration. "Show us the way." The keeper extended a phantom-like hand, and the chamber transformed around us. The walls dissolved, revealing a tapestry of swirling colors and lights, a kaleidoscope of possibilities that beckoned with the allure of the undiscovered. "Each veil leads to a path," the keeper continued, "a path that tests your spirit, your resolve, your unity." The air crackled with potential, charged with the weight of decisions yet to be made. As we absorbed the luminescent panorama before us, a series of doorways coalesced into view, each crafted from light and energy, each pulsing with its own distinct frequency. "We need to be careful," Zeph murmured, his eyes scanning the options. "This place feels like it could swallow us whole if we're not mindful." "Or it might reveal something incredible," Malik countered, his gaze alight with wonder and determination. I found myself smiling at their exchange. It was familiar, grounding in this realm of surreal wonder. My decision was not made lightly, but with the confidence born of countless journeys and challenges faced together. "We take the middle path," I decided, pointing to a doorway that shimmered with a deep cerulean hue, a color reminiscent of Earth's oceans, vast and enigmatic. As we stepped forward, the doorway enveloped us, its light absorbing our forms. There was a sensation of displacement, of being both nowhere and everywhere at once. Then, as quickly as it began, the transition ended. We emerged onto a landscape that defied logic, a terrain of floating islands suspended in a sky of shifting constellations. Each island was a microcosm unto itself, vibrant ecosystems that seemed to operate on rules of their own making. "Unbelievable," Malik breathed, stepping cautiously onto one of the islands that drifted closest. He knelt, examining a cluster of luminescent flora that reacted to his presence with a symphony of color. Zeph followed, eyes wide with disbelief. "It's like walking through a dream," he said, reaching out to touch a tree whose leaves shimmered like glass. I nodded, the sense of wonder infectious. Yet beneath the beauty lay a sense of purpose, a reason that the keeper had directed us here. "There's more to this than meets the eye," I mused, scanning the horizon for answers. As if in response to my thoughts, the air around us began to hum with a low, harmonious frequency. The islands shifted slightly, aligning themselves into a pattern that resonated with the very core of existence. "Captain," Malik called, pointing to a distant island where a structure stood, a spire that soared into the heavens, its apex obscured by clouds that danced with lightning. "Looks like that's our destination," I said, feeling the familiar pull of discovery. "Let's see what awaits." The journey across the islands was surreal, a dance of gravity and intent as we leapt from one to the next, each step a testament to our trust in this strange, captivating world. As we neared the spire, its details emerged, an intricate lattice of metal and crystal that sang with every breath of wind. It was ancient and alien, yet tinged with a familiarity that tugged at the edges of memory. The entrance was unguarded, a threshold that invited exploration. Inside, the spire was a cathedral of light, columns of luminescence rising to an unseen zenith, and at its heart, a dais upon which sat a crystalline orb that pulsed with a rhythmic heartbeat. Malik approached, his fingers running along its surface. This is a repository of knowledge," he marveled, eyes wide with comprehension. "Each pulse a story, every flicker a life." Zeph looked on, a blend of reverence and apprehension in his gaze. "What kind of stories, though, and whose lives?" I joined them, feeling the orb's warmth against my skin, its energy a gentle vibration that spoke of memories long preserved. "Perhaps the stories of the universe itself," I mused, my voice hushed with awe. The history of those who came before us, and maybe a glimpse of what's to come. The keeper's voice resonated in the chamber, a spectral echo that blended with the orb's hum. The abyss offers knowledge but also understanding. To know the past is to shape the future. Choose wisely, and the veils will part to reveal anew. The orb glowed brighter, a beacon of possibility. Before us lay the chance to learn, to grow, to take what we discovered and weave it into the fabric of our journey. In that moment, I understood the keeper's challenge. It was not about conquering the unknown, but embracing it, seeing not just with eyes, but with heart and spirit. Together, we stood at the precipice of revelation, ready to chart a course into the boundless depths of the cosmos. For in the vastness of the universe, every choice we made was a thread in the grand tapestry, a tapestry as infinite as the stars themselves. Part 9: The Symphony of Stars. As we stood in the heart of the spire, the crystalline orb pulsating with the rhythm of ancient tales and cosmic truths, I felt an inexplicable connection, a thread binding us not only to the past, but to the endless possibilities of the future. The air was charged with an anticipation that seemed to echo the very heartbeat of the universe. Malik was the first to break the silence, his voice a whisper of awe. "It's like a symphony, Captain. It's as if the galaxy itself is singing, and we've been invited to join the chorus." Zeph, ever the realist amidst wonder, raised an eyebrow. "Joining the chorus sounds all well and good, but what's the catch? What's keeping all this knowledge from driving us mad?" "The choice," the keeper's voice interjected, a harmonious blend that resonated through the chamber. "To embrace understanding is to embrace responsibility. Knowledge without wisdom is a burden, with it, a beacon." The keeper's words hung in the air, a gentle reminder of the path we had chosen, a path where each step demanded more than mere curiosity. It demanded intent, purpose, and acceptance of the unknown. "We've come this far," I said, feeling the weight of our journey and the promise of what lay ahead. "Let's see what these stories have to tell us." As if in response, the orb brightened, its surface shimmering with a cascade of images and sounds, a panorama of events woven from the fabric of existence. The spire around us faded into a tapestry of light, each thread a glimpse into a life, a moment, a star's birth or death, a civilization's rise and fall. One image drew me in, a vision of an ancient council gathered beneath the luminous spirals of a distant galaxy, their discussions weaving the fates of countless worlds. It was a vision of unity, of collaboration that transcended the boundaries of species and time. This is what the Elori hoped for, I realized aloud, seeing in the council a reflection of their desire to heal the fracture they had wrought. A universe where knowledge binds rather than divides. Malik nodded, captivated by the revelation. "It's not just about us or them. It's about everyone, every being, every choice resonating across the cosmos." Zeph, despite his usual skepticism, seemed touched by the vision's promise. "Kind of gives you hope, doesn't it? That maybe, just maybe, there's a place for us all in this symphony." The orb continued to unfold its stories, each a note in the grand composition of existence. And as we watched, I felt a shift within, a realization that our journey was not just about discovering what lay beyond the stars, but about understanding our place among them. The keeper's presence shimmered around us, an anchor in the sea of revelations. "The abyss holds myriad truths," it said, its voice a gentle crescendo. "In seeking them, you shape their impact. Your choices become the threads of destiny." I had always believed exploration was about finding answers, but here, in the quiet expanse of the spire, I saw the truth. Exploration was about the journey, about who we became along the way, the connections we forged, the understanding we gleaned. As the visions began to fade, leaving behind a sense of profound clarity, I felt the Keeper's gaze upon us, an encouragement to take what we had learned and weave it into our lives beyond the abyss. We should return to the Intrepid Dreamer asterisk, Zeph suggested, sensing the conclusion of our encounter. The universe isn't going to unravel its mysteries on its own. Malik clapped him on the back, a camaraderie born of shared trials and triumphs. And we're just the crew to help it along. With a final nod to the Keeper, we turned away from the orb, stepping back into the flow of stars and veils that had brought us here. The path unwound before us, a ribbon of light guiding our way back to our ship, our home, our vessel, our constant companion in the dance of discovery. The Intrepid Dreamer awaited, its hull bathed in the glow of the abyss. As we boarded, the familiar hum of its engines wrapped around us, a promise of new beginnings and endless horizons. The Keeper's voice lingered in my mind, a whisper of encouragement. You are the weavers of your fate, the keepers of your symphony. Carry it with you into the stars and beyond. As we set course away from the abyss, the ship's path aligned with the constellations, the infinite tapestry of possibilities stretching before us. This journey, this symphony of stars, it was the culmination of choices made and those yet to come, a reminder that in seeking the unknown, we had found ourselves and each other. We sailed onward, into the cosmic expanse where every moment was a note in the universe's song, and every heartbeat a thread in the grand design. And together, we would chart a course through the vast, wondrous symphony that awaited, ready to embrace whatever the stars had in store. Part 10, Whispers of the Void. The Intrepid Dreamer glided through the starlit expanse, the abyss a fading memory behind us. We were buoyed by the revelations and insights gained, yet acutely aware of all that remained unknown, a reminder that exploration is as much about the questions we ask as the answers we find. As we navigated through the vast, uncharted reaches of space, a subtle tension simmered beneath our newfound resolve. The galaxy held its breath, waiting for the next act in this cosmic play, and we were its unwilling protagonists. Captain, Zeph's voice cut through the quiet, bringing my focus back to the present. We're picking up an anomaly on the long-range scanners. I frowned, swiveling my chair to face the navigation console. Anomalies were nothing new to us. They were practically part of the job description. But the tone in Zeph's voice suggested something unusual, even for us. What kind of anomaly? I asked, leaning in to scrutinize the screen. The data scrolled past in a complex dance, though one pattern seemed to stand out, an oscillating signal that sang like a siren across the void. Malik joined us, his forehead creased in concentration. That frequency, it's not natural, it's a signal modulated and deliberate. A chill ran through me. Signals meant intelligence, intent. Can you triangulate the source? I asked, feeling the familiar thrill of discovery tempered by the caution hard-won from experience. Zeph nodded, fingers flying over the controls. Working on it. The signal's strong, but bouncing it off the nearby gas giants should help refine the location. The ship veered towards the coordinates, the engines purring like a contented beast. The closer we got, the more the signal took on a distinct cadence, a pattern that seemed almost conversational, like a beckoning whisper from the fabric of space itself. As we neared the origin point, an object emerged from the dark, a structure that hovered on the edge of recognition. It was massive, its silhouette framed against the nebular backdrop, an intricate mesh of frameworks and luminescent orbs that pulsed with the mysterious signal's rhythm. Zeph let out a low whistle. Now that's something you don't see every day. Looks like an outpost, Malik observed, his mind already working through the possible engineering marvels it possessed. But whose, and why so isolated? The ship drifted closer, entering the structure's gravitational field, a gentle pull that felt almost welcoming. It was as if the outpost itself was alive, its bones resonating with a silent song. "We're being hailed," Zeph said, the comms panel lighting up with an incoming transmission. "Audio only, should I patch it through?" I hesitated for a moment, anticipation and caution warring within me. But the call of the unknown was too strong, too insistent to ignore. "Let's hear what they have to say." The voice that filled the bridge was neither human nor Alori, yet it carried with it a familiarity, a sense of shared purpose that transcended any one identity. "Travelers of the Dreamer," it began, its tone a melodic resonance that vibrated through us like a touch of cool silk. "You are not alone in the void." A shiver coursed through me, the words both comforting and enigmatic. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice steady despite the uncertainty. "And why are you reaching out to us?" There was a pause, followed by a gentle laughter that seemed to echo across the stars. "We are the Seekers, watchers of the silent worlds, observers of the currents that weave the cosmos together, and you, explorers who have danced upon the threads of time." The mention of time threads caught my attention. "You know of the Nexus and the Alori," I stated rather than asked, a connection forming like lightning. "Indeed," the voice continued, its presence enveloping the bridge with soft assurance. "And we have been waiting for those who would bridge the stars and mend what has been shattered." A sense of destiny settled over us, a recognition of our place in a vast, interconnected web of events and choices. The Seekers had been waiting, watching, and now they had chosen to reveal themselves to us. "What is it you seek from us?" I inquired, curious about the role we would play in their grand design. "To learn," the voice replied, its cadence like a gentle breeze. "To share, and to unite the distant echoes. The outpost is a repository of knowledge, a beacon for those who seek the truth beyond the veil." The orb within the spire's depths had prepared us for this, I realized, an initiation into the mysteries that lay ahead. And now, the Seekers were offering us a chance to further that understanding, to delve deeper into the symphony of existence. "Then let's learn together," I said, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. "Guide us through the veils." The ship moved forward, a willing participant in this celestial encounter. The outpost opened to us, its corridors illuminated soft, ambient light that pulsed to the rhythm of the signal. It was an invitation, a promise of knowledge shared and alliances forged. As we explored the labyrinth of data and light, I realized we were not just witnesses to the universe's secrets. We were participants, helping to shape the narrative that wove through the stars. Together with the Seekers, the Alori, and myriad other threads of life and consciousness, we would chart a course into the heart of the galaxy's dream, a journey that bound us to each other and to the vast, wondrous symphony of the cosmos. And as the whispers of the void carried us onward, the echoes of our choices sang out, a testament to the endless possibilities that lay ahead.